Hey, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
There they are again. Never a dull moment with Mark Stancil and Robin OBrien. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Spectacular.
Yes, we're really excited. Tomorrow's a big day, you know.
Really? What's going on tomorrow?
Is it? I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, I think it's Groundhog Day. But
Groundhog Day. Oh, that's really
Again.
funny.
Now,
Yes.
Robin, I told you to stay off them conspiracy websites.
No, can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do
Her
it.
sister keeps getting her on them, doesn't she?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear the latest? Did you hear our Conspiracies Are Us commercial? You gotta hear
Oh
it.
no.
We've already been fact checked by Facebook, so you know it's legit.
Hey, at least you haven't been banned by Facebook yet. So
Working on it.
yeah.
that's funny. Robin OBrien, Mark Stancil. We love talking to you guys. And I'm sorry. I just listened to a podcast of you guys. I haven't done it in the past. But I thought, hey, I'm going to listen to their podcast. And I was very, very impressed. In fact, I listened to about 3 of them, not the entire podcast because of my ADD, but I did listen.
Thank you for your honesty.
And I found them fascinating. I love the December 30th one where you talk about self-care. So we can get into that in just a few if you want. Now that's the last one I saw. Are there any more than December 30? Are you working on one now or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Our latest one is called Marriage. Let's say Marriage Stinks on the radio. But you know, it's really about, and it's really geared towards the man or the woman who's like, you know, I'm just not happy and I deserve to be happy. And they have all this fantasy land about what life is going to be like when they're single again. And you know, they've given, you know, their spouse the old heave hove, and they're just going to be dating all these beautiful and fabulous people, and they're going to get to keep all of their money. Of course, you know, some guys really think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of a little dose of reality. So yeah, that's our latest podcast.
Cool.
Because we have 3 divorces between us, so we are experts when we can say, with a matter of fact, saying divorce stinks. So that's not actually the title of the podcast. It's still.
I think we get the point of what it actually says.
It really does
stink.
Yes, it does.
It starts with an S and ends with an S.
That's the right one. That's correct. Thank you.
It's what vacuum cleaners do. You know
That's
what I'm
exactly correct. That's right. Just like your wallet when the lawyer comes around, okay?
Or when the government comes around. Oh, did I say that again? Okay.
Did you say that out loud? That's right. So.
Yeah,
so we just talked about a little bit of that, about the reality of what it's like. Because I think sometimes even, and I talk about it from the female perspective too, is that what's divorce really going to feel like when you get there? Because I think, again, you're like, oh, finally I'll get rid of him and I can do everything and manage everything. But the reality is you still have to talk to this person, like, especially if you have kids. Now, if you don't have kids, you could probably say sayonara and then like bury them in the backyard. But if you have kids, you can't do that. So.
Yeah, and you know, one of the 4 horsemen that the Gottman Institute or Gottman Institute talk about is this couple that are marriage experts, and they study marriages that succeed and fail very scientifically. And one of the 4 horsemen for them is contempt. And when you allow contempt for your spouse to sort of, you know, work its way into your mind. The only way you can see your spouse is with contempt, you know, and all you can see is their faults. Well, she used to be, you know, this and now she's that, or he used to be so this, but now he's just so that, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, marriage is something where I forget what the exact quote is, but you have to go in with your eyes totally wide open. But then once you're married, you kind of have to have them half closed to all those things that may bother you a little bit. But are not deal breakers. So.
Right. So,
I have a question. I want to know how many husbands are buried in Robin's backyard, first of all.
No comment. I love Jesus. There are 3 crosses back there, oddly. No.
Hey, I did see a tarp in the back of your Honda Odyssey. There.
That is some empty bag of lime. Just ignore that.
Now it makes sense that you won't allow utilities to go back there and dig around. I get it now. It's all coming to light.
You know, I did have my smart meter removed last week. How did you know that?
Hey, you have to have somewhere to put all the 6 months of food just in case the apocalypse happens. And
You mean when the apocalypse? I mean, yeah, just in case the apocalypse happens.
Yeah.
Just in case the apocalypse and all those missile launchers and stuff. Just in case. You never know when you might need these things.
So that's just. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, because I do want to get back. I did want to talk about the self-care, but you've really opened up something that I think that we can touch on now. Your latest podcast, and you talk about contempt. No doubt that doesn't happen overnight, right? I mean, it's something that starts like a seed and grows and grows and grows, and I mean, it's real. And obviously you know that because you've experienced it and you're reading about it. For a couple, or let's just say one individual, because usually, would you say that it's usually one individual that gets the idea, hey, we need to turn the ship back around? How would someone turn that contempt around? I mean, obviously you can't do that overnight. It doesn't get there overnight, and you can't turn it around overnight. I would imagine that if you're the person that, let's see, how can I say this? That you're the one that is not releasing contempt, but is it contemptible? What is it? What's the proper word, Dan?
I would say if you're being contemptible, yeah.
Yeah. So I would believe that as you start out, it'd be hard because the other person is not changed yet, or hasn't gotten the revelation or gotten it yet. How would you start that, you think, Mark?
Well, Dr. James Dobson wrote a book years ago called Love Must Be Tough. And, in one of those, in that book, one thing he talks about is when you have the spouse who says, I'm leaving, it's over, I'm done, I'm sick of you. And, or you have sort of the passive spouse who's like, it was a mistake to get married in the first place. And, we should just have an amicable separation, and you go do your thing and I go do mine. And I don't hate you, and I still love you, but I'm just not in love with you anymore. That's what the straying spouse, the contempting spouse, tends to say. And sometimes, in one example in Dr. Dobson's book is the husband wants to have an open marriage, and he talks to his wife about that. That's the way I can be happy. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna just stay unhappy and have to leave. And by the way, a lot of times the contempting spouse will, they'll sacrifice everything on the altar of their happiness. You know what I mean? So what Dr. Dobson talks about is you have to start putting up boundaries. You cannot talk to me any way that you want to talk to me. And so, if you have a husband who's verbally abusive, or a wife who's verbally abusive, you have to start putting up boundaries. You have to say, you're speaking to me in a non-respectable, with no respect right now, and I don't accept that. So I'm going to go in the other room, and when you can speak to me in a respectable way, we can continue this conversation.
Right, because sometimes they were talking about is that that's not attractive anymore when they're all like a bowl of mush and you just keep pushing them around. Like, that's not what you married. You married someone who had chutzpah, right?
Right.
They had what again?
It's called it's chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
Yeah.
I say it like I read it. So beautiful.
I think chutzpah is the manner of how to dig a hole in your backyard to bury.
Yes, it is.
Chutzpah is like something you eat with dinner, isn't it? I had some chutzpah with my chicken the other night.
Yeah, a little kale on the side.
Or Robin. We're all ganging on Robin now.
Yeah. The other thing though is with a spouse who is sort of like, I'm on my way out. I think I want to leave. The worst thing that you can do is kind of hold on to their ankles as they go and say, please stay. I don't know what I'll do without you. It's counterintuitive, but that's kind of the worst thing that you can do to that spouse who has contempt for you. You have to have boundaries and say, you know what? I didn't make you marry me. I didn't drag you down the aisle. It was a decision that we made together. And I can't make you stay either. So I love you. I want to work this out with you. I'm willing to be patient and help you work through these issues that you're working through. But you know, you have to do what you have to do, and be a lighthouse for that person, and you be stable while they're dealing with whatever they're dealing with. Because people deal with stuff. They deal with midlife crisis. They deal with depression and mental problems. They deal with broken dreams. I thought my life was going to be like this, and all I got is this job I hate, and these kids are driving me crazy, and there's never enough money, and it just wears people down over time. So yeah, boundaries, really important. Wow, I've stunned the audience. Hey, you're welcome.
Well, I was just thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but I know Kevin Daly, when they bring people in, they look at all parts of their lives, the past, the physical, just everything they wrestle with, because, you know, back in the day, it was just kind of, you know, I lost the word, unidimensional. And so, you know, is all this is what it is. But, you know, people are whole. So it could be something physical. It could be something obviously emotional, spiritual, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's good.
And I think, Mark, you bring up a good point about when you have one spouse who kind of is in that whole, you know, they're floating out at sea. They need that lighthouse. They need that one thing that is stable in their lives and doesn't change along with them. So it's important for that one person to be something stable and something firm and that guiding light, if you will, in their life.
Yeah, give them the time and the space that they need to have a breakdown. Right. Because you know what? If you've never had a breakdown, you're going to have one someday, because it's just the way life goes. And things happen. Sometimes, you know, a couple has a miscarriage and everybody's like, oh, well, I'm sorry. But that's a devastating thing. It's something, it's a broken dream. They have broken hearts, and sometimes folks go bankrupt, and they go through really, really difficult, you know, the death of a mother or a father, or the death of a child. And sometimes we don't take the time to recover from those things. We just kind of go on and march on. And we deal with it later, 10 years later, when we're like, hey, hold on a second. This isn't the life that I wanted. You know, it's like, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife.
Hey, there's a song in there somewhere.
Many days go by. Yeah, it's a great karaoke song. You guys got to come over and karaoke with us.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
You should see Robin O'Brien with the karaoke mic.
That's right. We got down with Run DMC at New Year's this year.
You're not
Christmas time in Hollis Springs.
Or Kokomo?
No, stop. Don't tell them that. Now they know.
Oh, that's right.
I would say now that every karaoke event we go to, 20% of it is just dedicated to making Robin go nuts by playing 80 songs she hates, while everyone stares at me because they want to watch my expression as I'm like going, oh, this is so horrible. It's just bad.
Hey guys, we did do a little Phil Collins, you know.
Oh, they did. It was horrible. It's very horrible.
Oh, little Bee Gees. It was great.
Bee Gees, all right.
Bee Gees aren't that bad, but you know, Phil Collins and stuff. Oh, it was just bad.
Robin O'Brien and Mark Stancil. All right, you brought New Year's up. Were you both of you were a part of this whole mustard thing on New Year's, weren't you? What I asked Jen, your sister, Robin. I don't know that she really gave me a satisfying answer. Why on earth did you have mustard for New Year's?
Mustard? Yeah.
We have a friend. His name's Don. He's part of the Rubber Ducky Improv Group, and that was one of his things that he came up with a couple of years ago. How to ring in the new year. Some people do it with alcohol. We do it with mustard because we love Jesus and we're bitter. So that's just about it. So
did
just gotta give up with it.
So did Jesus have mustard every New Year? Is that what you're saying?
It's a new thing. It's a new thing. Thanks a lot,
in
Don.
Romans 17 it talks about
that's right. And now it's happened 3 times, so now it's just going to happen for the rest of our lives. So great.
Well, I'll just say we did do the mustard thing at the beginning of 2020, and you saw how that went.
That's a good reason to not do it again in 2021.
That's why I've now picked up a new book on trying to figure out how to make this year be different. And still reading, not finding anything in here, but
It looks like a great book.
Hey, what
It's how to be happy during a pandemic for those listeners.
I know you guys focus on your podcast on a number of things. It's relational, which I really love. And hey, if you're there, you want to listen to a great podcast, check out their podcast. The one that I enjoyed was the one with the Wisdom Improv one.
Yes.
1 and 2, which I thought was really good. In fact, I need to go back and finish those. So you brought up 2021 as you look ahead. Where were you guys? Let's say, what did you get out of 2020, and then look ahead. What do you think you're going to do in 2021 that you didn't get to do?
I think Mark should answer this one because he's got something big in the pipeline.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, I own a comics and animation company called Terminus Media, and we've published the second chapter in our comic book series called Dominion. And Dominion is it's like Star Wars and and Narnia put together.
Cool.
And it's the art is excellent, and the production values and everything. And we're working on some animation and toys. But it's basically a telling of the story in 1 Samuel. It's called Dominion, the Fall of the House of Saul. So it's the story of King Saul and his ascension to become king, and then his fall as king. And so we'll have the third chapter out in the first quarter of 2021. But the most exciting thing about this is we're getting some great reviews in from people who are not even Christians. Saying things like, I'm not a Christian and I've never read the Bible, but this comic book makes me curious. It makes me want to go back and read the source material. And, that's exactly what we set out to do with Dominion. Because, I remember Dr. Howard Hendricks from Dallas Theological Seminary used to say, people say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that's not true, because you can give him salt. And when you give the horse salt, he gets real thirsty. And so Dominion is salt that we're putting out there into the world. And, the goal is to have people want to go back and say, hey, let me go read that story in 1 Samuel, because we know that the word of God never returns void when people read it, whether they're Christian or not a Christian. It's the living and powerful word of God. So we're really excited about Dominion and the third chapter, and we'll be compiling it all into a graphic novel in 2021.
Wow.
So we're excited about that.
Dude, that's epic.
Very cool.
Oh.
How can folks find that?
Folks can find that at www.terminus, that's TERMINUS media, all one word, terminusmedia.com. So.
And you say that's the third chapter. So do you know will that be the completion of it, or will you have to do 2-3 more chapters to have a full project?
I want to keep going. And we're definitely going to do 6 books, and then we're going to see how it goes, how the market likes the book, because if you make a product that nobody buys, you really can't keep making it. But we're having really healthy sales, and things are going really well. So we're just gonna continue having fun and making this book. And when we're done with the fall of the House of Saul, we'll do the rise of the House of David.
Wow.
And, I keep harassing the artist because if you can picture the book, like Saul is a huge lion with a human body, right? And instead of chariots, they have big battle mechs, which are like big robots that the character sits inside of and pilots. And excuse me. And so we haven't seen what David looks like yet with his battle mech, his tiny little crummy battle mech, the slingshot. And we haven't seen what Goliath looks like either, but we've seen his huge footprint on a remote planet.
Wow.
And people are, oh man, what is this? And so people who are familiar with the biblical story of David and Goliath are like, ooh, when are we going to see this? When are we going to see this? And so I keep harassing the creative team, hey, let me see some designs and some concept art and stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah. Robin, real quick, what about you?
Oh, for this year? Well, we're just going to keep on making the Mark and Robin show, and then also working on the O'Brien Sisters comedy show podcast. So, I mean, I really enjoyed our last one about the conspiracy theories and the Capitol and the coronavirus. So we're really hitting all the marks lately. So it's always great to work with my sister, Jennifer O'Brien. So I've been enjoying that.
And by the way, the O'Brien sisters will be on the show. It is February 11.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's great.
They're back together.
I didn't know that.
Hey, that's my birthday. Woohoo.
Hey, happy birthday. That's right.
Robin,
And
are
I
you going to
think
make
it's
us some
completely hacked.
schnitzel? You gonna make us some
Schnitzel.
schnitzel?
Yes, I think I'm going to have to ship it there a little early. And with this mail service, I'm going to have to use FedEx. So guess I can write that off. So, yeah.
All right, check out the podcast. We got to go to a break. And what is the title again? It's called what?
The podcast or the book?
Podcast.
The podcast is the Mark and Robin Show. For Robin and my show about relationships, or the O'Brien Sisters is the O'Brien Sisters podcast, right?
Yep, that's it.
And it's great.
They're awesome. Hey, we'll talk to you guys soon. Love to have you back. You too. Looking forward to the 11th, Robin. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.